Hello, my name is Raymond Karchevsky. I am a living Christ. I've been talking to you for 25 years, and I've hardly made a dent in your consciousness. Why? Well, I'm somewhat tired of speaking to the satanic sheeple amongst you, those who have been conditioned through public education, societal education, regardless of what country you live in. You've all been conditioned, you've all been propagandized, you've all been caused to believe in thoughts and ideas that are your corner posts for life, your cornerstones, I should say, and you're believers. You have lost the ability to think critically. No, you think. But your thinking is confined to relative conditioning of that which is culturally the ideal of the culture that you live in, the country that you live in. It's based in words, based in ideas. You see, those are all products of the intellectual mind. They're not real. They're only confined to the intellect. They're not even confined to the subconscious mind, which you also have, but most of you have foregone. You have abandoned your ability to see, to view, to go through life holistically. And you have adopted blinders. You go through life blindly, believing. Believing in what? Believing in ideas that have been conditioned into you as children almost from birth, because you've adopted the conditioning of your parents, who they themselves were conditioned to the culture they belong to. Few are living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient men and women, holistic human beings who are balanced between the two minds, the subconscious mind and the partial, divided, split, opposing intellect, the world ruled by satanic thinking. Yes, you're quite right. You are satanic automatons. You are impressionable intellects that have been formed through traumatic pressure, pressure of education, pressure of politics of the particular government, country that you live in, culture, and pressure by the religion of your choice. Eastern religions, the Western religions, it doesn't matter. They're all mind control properties of the mind. They're all lies, because they're all symbolic. They represent that which is energy. Undefinable energy until they are defined and made into words with definitions that you believe in and you follow. Therefore you are enslaved by those words, the words of the country that you live in, that pits you against other peoples living in other countries with other rules. Understand? That creates conflict. It creates violence. So all of you are confused, both within yourself and outwardly in your relationships. For that is the nature of consciousness in the satanic intellectual mind. Well, I have been speaking for 25 years now of the holistic way of life, the Christ consciousness, the balance of one who lives between the impressions of the subconscious mind, the infinite, non-dualistic mind of what is, the realm of creation, the realm of God, the realm of love, the realm of life itself. You see, that is what God is, the non-dualistic truth of what is. And you, each and every one of you, and I, are part of that oneness, the essence of truth. We, yes, we are God. Now that's going to rattle a lot of you, and I understand that, but bear with me. You see, we are the creators of the quality of our life, and we are solely responsible for our lives. What we set into motion, the energy, the infinite energy that we are, that we create into the dualistic, illusory world of intellectualism through thought, creating an illusion, a representation of that energy, which is clearly undefined until it is created into a word and thus made real in an illusory world of dualism. That's the world of hell. That's what keeps most of you confused. Within yourself, you're undecided, and you must decide to act, to become as one, to put into motion that action. You cannot do it in a confused, conflicted state, for if you do, you've made a mistake, haven't you? You've created an illusion. And that confusion causes conflict, confusion, and pain, suffering. Isn't that the world of civilized, yes, I said civilized man. I've not said the natural man, I've said the civilized man. Because you are programmed. You are positioned to act in a certain way, a predictable way, according to words that are called laws. These are all satanic impositions upon your intellect. There's only God's law. And God's law is non-dualistic. It's truth. It's based in do no harm and tell no lies. You don't need millions of man's satanic laws and regulations, rules to guide you through life. All you need to do is open your eyes, open your senses, look around you, and do no harm and tell no lie. That's God's law. That's heaven on earth. That's Christ consciousness. Understand? How many of you can do that? Oh, you'll find that it's impossible presently for you to do that. Why? Because you're addicted to words. You're addicted to ideals that are programmed into you like a robot. That makes you a citizen. That makes you a follower, a believer. That makes you a divided individual, dependent upon something outside of him or her in order to act. Those are civilized rules, the rules of mankind, satanic rules. Look at your world, and you'll see what that has brought you since the beginning of time. History is nothing more than storytelling of programmable individuals at the hands of leaderships that have created stories for the sake of power, for the sake of control. Why do you want to live that way? I don't live that way. I'm 82 years old, and I've gone through everything that Satan has created to put in my way, and I have dealt with it. I've acted and dissolved it. And I live in a non-dualistic world of what is, and I speak to you of that world, and you don't recognize it. You cannot recognize it. You're addicted to storytelling. I tell no stories. You can look at my videos, going back decades now, and you will realize I don't tell stories. I don't tell lies. I speak of truth, and that truth is what is. It cannot be debated. It cannot be argued. It cannot be controlled. You see, I am you. It's a heck of a statement to make, isn't it? Sounds crazy. It only sounds crazy in a dualistic world, in a world of division, of conflict, of confusion. In the world of the subconscious, unlimited, infinite mind of creation, all is one, and therefore I am you. That's why you have no power to argue with me. I cannot argue with you. I can only speak the truth, and you can't handle the truth. So you dismiss it as being some crazy man who doesn't fit in. Well, you're correct about that also. I don't fit into your world. Your world is hell. I am in your hell, but I am not of it. That's clear for anyone to see. Now, I've stopped. This is an exception. This video is an exception to the rule. For I've stopped talking to everyone. Those who are capable of understanding me and those who are not. And so they take up the position of duality, of conflict, of trying to dismiss, to stop this living Christ from speaking the simple truth to you. Well, you see, that has not worked. And I'll tell you why it has not worked. It has not worked because that's an illusion. Everything you think of in your conscious intellect is a thought. And thoughts are illusions until they are acted upon the physical plane of consciousness that we call life. That is reserved for the living. Oh, the living dead occupy that illusory life for a time also. That's called birth and death. But you see, those who understand are immortal. There is no death, for there is only what is, and that is what truth is. And we, each and every one of us, is a perception of that truth. And that makes for our physicality. We don't die. Death is a transition into another dimension of consciousness. But for this dimension, this three-dimensional reality, death is real. And it creates all kinds of problems for the intellect, who can't understand the whole of life, because they have been programmed, satanically programmed, to believe in the political and the religious factors of satanic mind control. Now, I've gone to Patreon.com and I have reserved my future communications and the interaction with living men who are open to understanding the truth, to venture into a dialogue, a non-dualistic dialogue of truth. That is the gospel of this living Christ. Most of you are limited to the gospel of Jesus Christ, which to you is really only a fictional idea that you hold. You don't know anything about Jesus Christ but what has been traumatically trained into you. And so you believe. And it creates fear in you because it's divisive. And you pray to God, not knowing that you are the God of your own life by your own actions. You create the quality of your life. That's a fact. That can't be argued. That's why all those who are controlling your minds presently, those who are in control of government, of religion, of media, they don't want you to know a thing about this living Christ. and they will do everything in their arsenal to stop this living Christ from bringing the simple truth to you. So, I invite everyone who wants to continue a relationship with this living man of truth, this Christ, to go to Patreon. Oh, it's private. It does not allow for the rabble. Those of you who have learned how to speak, how to write, but do not understand what they speak and write about. That's the blind leading the blind. So, there it is. This is my address to you. Do you want to continue to live a life of heaven on earth, or continue to live in hell on earth? It's up to you, is it not? Thank you.